80% of a romance is agonizing tension. Tease them to the very brink of madness.
I should tease them?
Of course. And in that final 20%, destroy them. It takes discipline seldom found in the thoroughly uninitiated.
Hands just like so, eyes lock together. And a kiss to bind them forever. Shut the door.
So I have to admit to you up front, I don't remember Masamune kun that well, and I haven't rewatched it. I made the fatal flaw of knowing a second season was on the horizon, and I didn't go back in and rewatch the show. So as I'm watching this episode, trying to remember where we left off on, what the actual like specific intricacies of the plot were, I was really trying to grasp at straws. But at the end of it, I kind of feel like I got a bundle of straws at the end, because like, oh, okay, yeah, I kind of remember what was happening now. I'm still struggling to remember like a lot of the names like Futaba or Kojiro, and trying to remember like, okay, who was who. And then they called Masamune Makabe, and I was like, why was that? I was like, oh yeah, his alias. And then I was trying to figure out everything. But I think kind of at the end, I'm still going to take a couple episodes to just kind of get back into the names and everything, because it's been a while. It's been a couple years since I rewatched the anime. But I think that after everything, I am back in it. And wow, this episode was fantastic. And the other thing that was fantastic is this has a day and date dub, which is freaking awesome. Now, I know a lot of you guys out there are purists, and you're like, if I don't watch it in Japanese, it's not real. That's not how I feel at all. I love dubbed anime, and I think that if I had to choose between subbed and dubbed, I always lean towards dubbed if they're available same day, just because it's easier to absorb. Unless you're learning Japanese or you know it, like really there's not a benefit to watch subbed anime. The only real benefit there is like sometimes in specific anime, a lot of the text dialogue doesn't get translated for some reason, but that is like one of the only things that I ever find is like a deficiency when you're watching subbed versus dubbed. For me, watching dubbed makes it easier to absorb. I don't miss anything. I don't have to pause. I don't have to rewind to reread something, which I typically have to do in a lot of different animes. So I'm just putting it out there right now. Your boy watched the dubbed. You hate on it, let me know in the comments. Tell me that you hate dubbed anime or something like that. But I watched the original one in subbed, and I remember watching it a couple of times, like rewatching it a couple of times in dubbed, and I was like, oh wow, dubbed actors are really good. And it seems to be like they're mostly all back, at least from my ears. Again, it's been a couple of years since I rewatched it, but it also really sounds familiar. And I love that it's dubbed because, again, makes it easier to absorb. I take notes as I'm watching, videos for review. I'm able to, chill, sip and drink my coffee. If I have to answer a text, or if I want to look at a tweet on Twitter, I can look at my phone, not having to worry about missing anything. That's the benefit of dub. So I love day and date dub, as I'm sure a lot of you guys do too, but you're probably just too afraid to say it, which is completely okay. If you're not, though, let me know in the comments. All right. So this episode, effing fantastic. So they go to France for a school trip, and we get introduced to a brand new character named Marielle, and she is a artist in France who has a very strong love for Japanese people, Japanese culture. She's basically a big ol' otaku, as I'm sure many of us are here, including myself. Now, I don't take it as far as this girl, or I never have in my life. I've never worn an eye patch or a cape past like 8 years old. So I'm not that hard into it. And I've also tried to learn Japanese, but I'm too lazy and I give up constantly. So she is definitely like the fortification of a otaku around the world, someone who's just dived into Japanese culture. And this person is a person who makes manga and stuff. And as Masamune goes on his trip, right, he gets stopped by Aki, and he gets told that she wants to speak to him one-on-one because of all the things that happened like last year, whenever the anime takes place, but the recent events like the school event and the school play. And they have like a lot of built-up tension that they need to go and talk out. Then after that, we get reintroduced to I don't remember what his name is, but the false Masamune, the big boy, big chunky boy. And later on in the episode, we get a huge effing plot twist because the boy is paired up with one of his classmates in because in the hotel or whatever, he's paired up. as I'm sure that they are. He's taking a shower, and we find out that he actually has his chest bandaged. So big boy might actually be big girl. And he's trying to restore his family's name, or I guess I should start saying she's trying to restore her family's name. And the character makes a couple of references like gender doesn't matter and stuff like that. And it's going to be even so she's pretending to be Masamune, okay? So I guess first off, she's pretending to be a boy. Okay, no problem. Happens all the time. At least in Japanese rom-coms. Happens all the time. Next, she's pretending to be Masamune. Then the next one after that is if she, does get Aki's love interest, she then has to overcome the fact that she's not a boy. So now, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of hills for this girl to climb here. But I was like, yo, when they showed that plot twist, I don't know if you knew. Maybe you read the source material years ago. I didn't know, so I went, I had to pause. I was like, oh my God. I was like, what a moment there. Then, after that big moment, then we have the Marielle stuff. Her big brother threatens Aki and Masamune. And they have to go become friends and give her advice and stuff like that. She then pushes the barrier, Marielle, she pushes the barrier of comfortability with Masamune, goes in for a kiss because she's trying to explain how her version of rom-com is, and they're trying to explain how Japanese go about it, how basically Japanese pussyfoot around romance, and mostly everywhere else in the world is kind of more straightforward. If you like somebody, you don't really take weeks, years, or months, to say something. You pretty much, after a little bit, you just kind of say, hey, I like you kind of thing. Which I think is very true from what I've seen in Japanese culture, what I've seen on TikTok, what I've seen on, YouTube and different, and friends, in personal life and stuff like that. It's just Japanese culture is just very different. It takes 12 dates or something before you even hold a hand or something. Of course, socialistic norms are changing in the world, so that's not going to be everybody, especially the younger generation of, people in Japan. A lot of them are going to be straightforward, but a lot of them are still... I hate to use the word traditional because I don't think that's the word. They're not traditional in their culture sense, but I would say they're more restrained a little bit. But I would say the culture is changing. But the reality is typically when you see rom-coms and stuff, they're written in a traditional sense because typically that rom-com typically is written by a 30-something, 40-something who, again... Their knowledge is rooted in their high school experience, which is probably 10, 20, 30 years ago. So I love that they kind of give her really advice. She goes in for the kiss with Masamune, and Aki immediately goes and was like, no. And then Marielle calls them out because they start explaining, you can't just say you like somebody. You have to, take a while in there. And then she puts it together that they like each other. They're like, oh, they don't know what to do. I laughed a lot during that moment. And I was like, yo, Marielle just caught them up. And, basically we move on to the next part, which is Pig's Foot. I'll call her Pig's Foot for now, but the fake Pig's Foot is talking to Aki's maid or whatever she is. I forget. I don't know what her name is. I totally forgot. So put it in the comments. But the orange hair girl name who's partner with Masamune, she catches her up in the scheme and has pictures. She's like, I know you're working with this dude. And that's kind of where we end on a moment. But overall, Masamune kun is back. I love this anime. I love that it's day and date dub. It has all the funniness that the OG season had, and it introduced a big plot twist, at least to me, which this was a big plot twist this episode, and I really appreciated that as well. So I'm hooked. I'm in. I hope you guys are too. Putting out this episode 1 review. If this does good, please leave a like. Please leave a comment. Even if just an emoji, just drop anything in the comments. Let me know your hatred of dub. Let me know your love of dub. Let me know if sub's superior. Let me know all that in the comments just so I can, the more people comment, the more YouTube kind of pushes these videos out. And at the end of the day, for episode 2 and beyond, for my coverage of it is really depending on this video. If this video blows up and does decent, and decent for my channels, 200-300 views or so, I don't ask for thousands of views, just a couple hundred views, and I'll continue it going. If this video ends up just dying and I get 50 views or something, I probably won't be covering it going forward because I'm going to be putting out a lot of other episode 1 reviews, should you watch reviews, and that's kind of how I base how I'm going to watch all summer long. So If you want me to cover this all season and we want to conversate with it all season, let me know in the comments. All right, my friends, from me to you, I'm going to see you for more summer anime. If you can, please check out the videos of what I'm covering this season coming on screen. And I already have a couple of videos out from the weekend, like Mushoku Tensei and Am I the Strongest? So go and check those out if you haven't already. All right, have a great weekend, a great July 4th for those in the States, and everybody else around the world. Have a great one. Peace.